Have you ever met a woman who made you believe that the universe chose you, that love itself was a miracle, but then, not long after, you found yourself exhausted, lost, even doubting your very own worth? The truth is, there are certain types of toxic women who are far more dangerous than you think women who carry nothing but destruction. The danger lies in the fact that they don't appear as enemies, but approach you as the perfect lover, and by the time you realize it, it's already too late. In today's video, I'll show you 8 types of toxic women that no man should ever accept in his life, and recognizing them early could be the very thing that saves you from years of suffering. Listen, not all toxic women are villains who deliberately want to destroy you. In reality, many of them are wounded themselves, never having healed, and so they carry those wounds and scatter them onto others. But no matter the reason, the consequences still fall squarely on you. They are like a dose of poison wrapped in the sweet coating of medicine. At first, you feel relieved, comforted, as if you've found true love. But the longer it goes on, the deeper the poison seeps in, corroding your soul, your self-respect, and the very essence of your manhood. You might think every relationship has problems. She'll probably change eventually. But the truth is, the more you endure, the more you forgive unconditionally, the more you lower your own boundaries, and once you've grown used to being disrespected, you won't even recognize what you're losing anymore. There are men who have wasted years, even their entire lives, trapped in the cycle of a toxic relationship. They gradually lose their confidence, their creativity, their natural strength, and even more heartbreaking, many of them never find their way back to themselves. But then there are other men who wake up early. They see the signs, they dare to walk away, and because of that, they save their future. They find peace again. They find a woman who truly deserves them, and above all, they find themselves again. That's why vigilance isn't about hatred, nor is it about revenge. Vigilance is the shield that protects your life. Recognizing toxic women early can be the difference between a life of happiness and a life drained to the bone. There are 2 types of women especially dangerous, because they don't need grand actions. Just their daily words and attitudes alone are enough to wear you down. The first is the woman who humiliates with words. She doesn't simply disagree, she turns every conversation into a ruthless surgery, where the scalpel is her words. She uses a tone she would never dare use with her boss, her friends, or even a stranger on the street. But with you, she allows herself to unload all her anger, insecurity, and bitterness. You become her emotional punching bag, absorbing every invisible strike. Pay attention to how she talks about the men before you. They're always painted as cowards, monsters, pathetic figures in her stories, and you must understand this one day, you too will become the next villain in that venom-filled diary of hers. Respect does not exist here. Only sarcasm, mockery, and humiliation delivered with ever more creative cruelty. The second is the woman who always plays the victim. To her, the whole world is at fault except herself. Failed at work because the boss was biased. Lost a friend because of betrayal. Love falling apart because men are worthless. Every mistake gets pushed outward. And when you're in a relationship with her, you become the one who receives all the blame. At first, you feel pity, thinking you need to stay to comfort her, to protect her. But that pity is the trap. Because over time, you get pulled deeper into her whirlpool of blame. She's sad, it's your fault. She fails, it's your fault. She's unhappy, it's even more your fault. And when you're constantly stabbed by the knife of accusation, you start doubting yourself. Maybe I really am terrible. Maybe it really is all my fault. This is the true danger. Even a strong man can gradually turn into someone weak, living in a permanent state of guilt. And remember, a woman who cannot look in the mirror and face her own flaws will never change. She is stuck in the victim role, and if you stay too long, you'll be dragged into that psychological prison with her. The question is, do you want to live your whole life as the scapegoat, or do you believe you deserve real love and respect? There are also 2 types of women who make you think you're in love, but in reality, you're only holding on to an illusion. The first type is the ghost of commitment. To her, love is like a room with wide open windows. She steps in, smiles, laughs, makes you feel like you're special, but one foot of hers always stays outside. Loyalty to her is a shackle, commitment is a trap, and the future is a prison door she will never walk through. You'll see her boast about the men chasing her as if it were an achievement list, telling stories of other options as though you're just a side character in the script of her life. And the cruel part is she gives you just enough sweetness to keep you hooked, but never the certainty to give you peace. Today she convinces you that you're the only one. Tomorrow, she plants doubt in your heart about the other opportunities she's not ready to let go of, and you become addicted to her instability, trapped in her endless push and pull psychological game. The second type is the status gold digger. She doesn't love who you are. She loves what you can provide: money, status, comfort. In her eyes, you're not a man of flesh and blood, you're an upgrade card for her lifestyle. Pay attention when she talks about men. Does she ever mention kindness, sincerity, or intelligence? Or is it always about money, cars, houses, status? At first, you might be deceived, because a gold digger knows how to disguise herself. She can be gentle, sweet, making you believe you're truly loved. But the truth is, you're just a placeholder until a better option appears. When someone richer, more powerful, or with higher status comes along, she will leave you without a shred of hesitation. The terrifying part is that both of these types of women put you in a state of waiting for something that will never come. With the ghost of commitment, you wait for stability, but only receive insecurity. With the gold digger, you wait for love, but in reality it's only a contract of benefits. So the question for you is this: do you really want to give your youth, your heart, to someone who only sees you as a temporary stop, or do you believe you deserve someone who truly wants to walk beside you and build a future with you? There are relationships where you don't need chains of iron or steel, yet you still feel imprisoned. Because here, the chains are made of words and jealousy. The first type is the communication assassin. She turns words into emotional minefields. Every conversation can explode into a war and you're always the loser. When you try to express your feelings, she tells you you're irrational. When you offer solutions, she immediately changes the rules of the game. When you need clarity, she only brings more confusion. Gradually, you learn to stay silent, to censor yourself, because the moment you open your mouth, you're accused again. This is no longer communication, it's manipulation. The second type is the dragon of jealousy. At first, it might be just small questions. Where are you going? Who are you meeting? Why are you home late? You think it's care, but slowly, that care turns into interrogation. The interrogation turns into surveillance, and eventually, you lose your freedom. She wants to know every detail: where you went, with whom, what you did, friends, colleagues, even family. Everyone is seen as a threat. Your world shrinks, until all that remains is a tiny circle where she is the center. The terrifying part is, both of these types drain you little by little. One leaves you mentally exhausted from living in chaotic communication, where you're always wrong. The other suffocates you with jealousy, where you no longer have the right to live for yourself, and when the two combine, you're no different from being locked in a prison, with invisible walls built of words and cold iron bars forged from control. Ask yourself, does real love take away your voice and your freedom, or is it just the disguise of a toxic relationship that's eating you alive day by day? There is another type of woman, and being with her, you slowly realize your feelings, your pain, your exhaustion, simply don't exist in her world. This is the empathy void. To her, there is only me. When you're sad, she's annoyed. When you're hurt, she ignores it. When you need a hug, she demands admiration. Instead of reaching out when you collapse, she's only angry at losing her emotional servant. In this relationship, you gradually become an invisible shadow existing only to care, to listen, to yield. But you yourself are never truly understood, and it doesn't stop there. There is another type, even more ruthless, the vampire of attention. To her, attention is oxygen, food, everything. Without eyes on her, she suffocates. Without praise, she feels hollow. Look at her social media and you'll see it clearly: every photo calculated, every caption scripted, every story designed only to harvest likes and comments. And you, the man by her side, are nothing more than a prop in that performance. You appear in photos, in stories, only as a backdrop for her to shine. But when the curtain falls, you're left to bear her coldness and neglect. The tragedy is, attention is never enough. Today it's 100 likes, tomorrow 1,000, next week 10,000. But the void inside her can never be filled. You'll find yourself trapped in an invisible competition, competing with strangers online, competing with the spotlight of the digital stage, competing with her endless ego. And deep down, you know this is not love. This is an addiction to attention, where you're only a reluctant spectator in a play that never ends. So ask yourself, do you want a woman who truly sees you, feels you, or will you spend your entire life standing behind the spotlight, a background for someone who only lives for applause? Listen to me. If you recognize traces of your own relationship in the types of women I just described, then you're not alone. You're not crazy for feeling exhausted. You're not weak for having forgiven. And you're not foolish for having believed in love. You're simply a man who longs to love and be loved. And there is nothing wrong with that. The mistake is that you chose the wrong person. The mistake is that you gave your heart to a hand that did not know how to cherish it. And the greatest mistake is when you keep closing your eyes, accepting it, allowing toxicity to gnaw at your soul day after day. The moment you dare to say enough is the moment you take back your power. The moment you choose peace over chaos is the moment you truly choose yourself. And the moment you walk away from a destructive relationship is the moment you step toward a healthy future, where a worthy love is waiting for you. Remember this, you don't need to burn yourself out just to keep someone else warm. You don't need to sacrifice your dignity to hold on to a false love. You don't need to drown in chaos just to prove you're strong. A man's true strength is having the courage to walk away from what is destroying him. You deserve a woman who respects you, who sees you, who walks beside you. You deserve a love that builds, not destroys. You deserve happiness, not exhaustion. If you agree, hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell right now. Because here, I will continue to share perspectives, lessons, and tools to help you recognize, to break free from, and to protect yourself against toxic relationships. And finally, remember just 3 words: choose yourself. Choose peace, choose the future, because no man should ever accept toxicity, no matter how well it is disguised.